Kelly here. In the last video, I talked about the most important part of the weight loss trinity, and that's your why. In this video, I want to touch on the second most important part of the trinity, and that's your nutrition. A lot of times when people think of losing weight, the first thought that comes to their mind is I have to start exercising. And yes, we'll get to that. But I've had personal training clients who are working out 3 to 4 times a week and not making much progress at all because they didn't change their eating habits. When you get your nutrition on straight, all those weight loss efforts become much easier. But when it comes to diet, it can be pretty confusing. There are so many people trying to tell you why their new angle is going to help you, why you can lose weight fast and don't have to worry about anything. I don't know about you, but I definitely have been duped. I'd like to say only once, but definitely more than once, on big promises that produce 0 results. The good news is that you don't need some crazy restrictive diet where you're starving all the time. You don't need weight loss shakes or supplements or pills or expensive foods. We're going to do this the old-fashioned, healthy, and practical way. Now, when I say nutrition, I'm really talking about 3 things: what you eat, how much you eat, and when you eat it. But before we get to that, it's important we have the right mindset about food that comes from understanding why God gave us food in the first place. You see, God made food, first of all, for fuel. It is what gives us energy and sustains us physically throughout the day. I mean, if you don't eat, you're gonna die. But God is so amazing, He gave food a secondary purpose, and that is something to be enjoyed both by yourself and with others. I mean, is there any other reason for chocolate? But sometimes we get these 2 concepts reversed and think that food's primary purpose is for our enjoyment and forget to see it as fuel. Now, sometimes we use food for another reason, and that's as a mood booster. When we eat food, it sparks a flood of chemicals in our body, which has different purposes. Well, some of these chemicals can have a powerful effect on our mood, and many people get caught into the trap of using food as a mood booster or a coping mechanism. This is where the concept of emotional eating comes in, but we're going to have to leave that for another topic and another video. So before we even create a meal plan, the first step is getting our mindset about food back in line with God's purposes for it. I want you to start seeing food primarily as a source of fuel, and not all fuel is created equal. You know, when you go to fill up your car for gas, and there's often 3 choices. There's the cheap stuff, then there's mid-grade, and then there's premium, which can be expensive. But premium fuel burns cleaner and gives your car more energy. Well, my husband has this old pickup truck that I hate, but he loves it. And whenever I have to drive it and go to the gas station, I'm like, fill it up with the cheap stuff. I mean, really, for his truck, premium gas is not going to make any difference. Trust me, just don't tell him. Well, imagine for a minute that God lent you His car, and you had to fill it up before you gave it back to Him. When you pull up to the gas station and there's the cheap stuff, mid-grade, and then premium, and this is God's car, which kind of fuel are you going to put in it? I bet you're going to put in the very best. Exactly. Well, as you know, Scripture teaches us that we are not our own and that we were bought at a price, and that price wasn't cheap. So what kind of fuel should I be putting into something that belongs to God? If you guess premium, you're right. Now, what does this mean when it comes to our own nutrition? Well, it means eating clean. Now, I'm not talking clean in the theological sense of this food is unclean and this food is clean, but rather clean energy foods that don't do damage to the body when you consume them. So what does it mean to eat clean? Well, for starters, it's limiting your consumption of processed food. There's no need for them in your diets at all. We often turn to processed foods because they're quick and easy, but not necessarily healthy. Second, get rid of all unnatural sugars, and you mostly find them in processed foods anyway. This includes white flour and all white, brown, and other color sugar you want to talk about. Just eliminating processed sugar from our diet will do wonders in how you feel and in your weight loss. In the Slim Sister program, I give you a meal plan each week where you can begin to eat quick and easy to prepare meals without processed food that is full of chemicals anyway. But a good rule of thumb is when you shop, stay in the perimeter of the grocery store. That's where most of your healthy food can be found. How much to eat? I can't give you a one-size-fits-all answer, as everybody is different and there are a lot of factors you have to take into consideration, but you can get a rough idea by figuring out what's called your basal metabolic rate. If you want to do that, then download the worksheet below this video and it will help you figure this out. When to eat. You want to eat 5 to 6 smaller meals a day. There's a good reason for this. When you're eating every 3 hours or so, it helps speed up your metabolism. Your metabolism is like a furnace, and we want to constantly keep it fueled because when it's cranking, it actually speeds up our fat loss. This is why starvation diets never work in the long run, because you slow down your metabolism, which makes it harder to burn fat. When you clean up your diet, you'll be amazed at how much better you feel, how much more energy you have, and ultimately how much weight begins to melt off your body. So here's what I want you to do today. Try viewing everything you eat as fuel. Fuel that you're putting into this amazing body that you possess. Start cutting out processed foods and sugars, and thirdly, slow down and enjoy every bite. After all, food is pretty good. Enjoy the process, love God, and love your life. Please leave me a comment below the video here telling me what you think, because it really does mean a lot to me. And pass this on to a sister you know. Thanks.